Good morning. This is going to be a continuation of yesterday's discussion, but we kind of went off on a different track, and I thought I would pick that up today instead of making one really long video. And so what today's topic is what I call the return of the goddess. And this is the most important thing that's going on the planet today. This is what all of the chaos is about the old paradigm dying and the new paradigm being born. And birth is a messy and confusing and stressful and painful process. But it's also a really wonderful and valuable process. And so what's going on today is a return of goddess consciousness. And that's going to be my introduction. I'm going to just cut back into the conversation that I started earlier, that you saw yesterday. It makes sense. Somehow or other, it'll make sense. All right, here we go. This is, if you've heard my other stuff, I talk about the return of the goddess. You know that the goddess has been killed off in our mythology and our psychology and our, mindset. We have killed the goddess, and now you can never really kill her. She's divine. How can you kill a divinity? She is coming back into the planet. Her time is coming. She is reborn. And when I started this work in myself, not the teaching, but when I started this work in myself in the early mid-'80s, if you can remember back that far, if you can imagine back when there were dinosaurs, I could see that this was coming, and I just felt it, like I just downloaded that knowing, or that knowing came through to me. I didn't do anything. I just got this knowing that the goddess was coming back, and for a long time I didn't really know what that meant. And my understanding of what that means has evolved over these decades, for sure. And where I am right now is realizing that the key, what that really means at the core of it, is that love is coming back into the world. Heart-centeredness is coming back into the world. It's the brain that judges. It's the brain that says something should be different than it is. The heart just wants to love. Simple. Nothing else. The heart just wants to love. Because that's its natural state, is a state of love. And with that becomes all of these other qualities that are associated with the divine feminine, like peace and bliss and compassion and connection and all of these things that the world is starving for, literally almost starving for. We are now bringing back into the world, and we have to do that in ourselves. First of all, we are the proving ground. We are the launching pad. We can't love in the world truly and fully unless we can love ourselves. So this is the whole practice, is loving ourselves. I was doing an exercise the other day where we were listening. The exercise was listening to other people with strongly opposing viewpoints, high conflict level viewpoints, like, for instance, pro-choice versus pro-life dialogue. And no matter where you are in the spectrum of that dialogue, the goal was can you send positive intention? Can you send love? Can you see the person in a positive way, even while they're saying things that can trigger you? It was a very powerful practice and very enlightening. And what came really clear to me in that moment was that when I'm listening with my head, there's all of these arguments and yeah buts and looking for flaws and wanting to bring in other facts and wanting to dialogue it and change this other person's mind to what I feel and believe is a truer viewpoint, right? And that in itself is a warning sign. And instead, we're coming with a perspective of curiosity and caring. How did you come to this belief? What does it mean to you in your life? And listening from the heart rather than from the head. And when I was listening from the heart, it was just so much easier to be present for that person, to really hear what was going on for them. And it also, as a kind of a side benefit, made it clear to me that we were opposing more in strategies than in needs or even viewpoints. For instance, we both had the same goal of wanting, in this one instance, of building the wall across the butt of the United States. We were discussing pro and con sort of thing, and what came to me was that we all had the same ideas of what was valuable in that, like I don't want to go into details, but we all had the same ideas. We could all agree on the goals. Yes, that's a worthy goal. And yet the process, the strategy, is where we disagreed. And strategies are just malleable, right? We're going to try something maybe, and we're going to see if it works or whatever. It's not as critical as disagreeing on a fundamental level. And it's certainly not as important as agreeing on a fundamental level. So just listening from the heart gave me that ability to see the unity in us and see the connection and see the agreement that we had, which gave us a way to build on a dialogue that was much more productive, and we may not have changed anyone's minds, and it didn't matter, because what mattered was we were closer as a group, and we understood the other's viewpoint, and we didn't judge the other person or their viewpoint as wrong or whatever. We could honor their perspective. Can you imagine taking that out and making something like that worldwide? How would that change the world? So, in the same way, we need to bring that heartfelt, heart-centered compassion and listening and caring to our interactions with ourselves. That's our starting point. If we did that, we would never have to do anything else with anyone else. If we had fully connected with our hearts and our love for ourselves, nothing else would impact us in a really negative way. It could, we can still go through challenges and whatever and pain, but we wouldn't be triggered, and we wouldn't be caught and pulled into a state of being that we don't want to be, like judgment or anger or hatred or whatever it is that, those more intense and less productive emotions. Whew. That was a little bit all over, but I think it was valuable, and I hope that you found it so. And what's our practice for today then? Let's see if we can't bring love for ourselves no matter what's going on outside or inside. No matter what is happening, take a moment to notice that that's what's going on or coming up in you. Notice it and take a breath and love it anyway. Love yourself anyway. Literally, we are changing the world one energy, emotion at a time. And remember that the more you do something, the more your brain is wired to do more of that and to make it easier and more automatic. So with every practice you do today, it becomes easier for you and it becomes easier for the world to shift to that heart-centered consciousness. All right, we have it. We're ready to go. Let's enjoy that and play with it today, and then we'll check back in tomorrow. Have a beautiful, loving, wonderful day with yourself, and I'll talk to you then. Blessed be.